Oh, welcome to our webinar session. So today I'm featuring myself, Phang, and I have Shanice with me as well on the line. So that's we will talk about software engineering practice in the Experian, the Experian way. Right. Let me start it. Let's start with the first slide. Great. So first of all, let me share with you. I'm from the business unit of Decision Analytics and Experience under the global software groups and the practice leads for Malaysia. So we actually helping to drive all the content deliveries for the whole organizations, so that we have the successful delivery of the software products for code into onto the productions. Yeah. So we have a few demand center across the group. So scattered around all the world. We have in Scotland, US, in London, Nottingham, and Monaco, Sofia, of course, the Cyberjaya in Malaysia. So in Malaysia, been established for 14 years. So we in the demand center here we have around I think 900 people, but for our business unit is about 150. Yeah. Let's go to the team structures. So we, like I mentioned, we have a few demand centers that scattered around the world. How we organize it, I think we implemented the Agile Scrum kind of methodologies and borrow from Amazon, that we had 2 pixel size of teams. So generally we're ranging for 4 up to 10 person in the team. And then each team probably is managing like 2 to 5 microservices. And then for team in managing a services into a very similar kind of product line, then it will group them into a group. Then we form a group. We generally have around 12 to 15 groups across a group. And to improve the US user experience, business intelligence, quality practice. That's to embrace all the best practice to how we test the software and to collect all the metrics. Then, of course, the DevOps practice, that's myself, then work a lot with them as a practice group. So just to drive all the success for the content deliveries for the organization. Then we have a technical author practice as well. So some say a document is as important as code as well. I think everyone's could agree. Right, so this is how our team being structured. Yeah, these are the few buzzwords. This is the process and practice that I like to share across. We borrowed from the, I think lanes, and most of people are maybe not that familiar. So it's actually from the from the Toyota's manufacturing process. So how we borrow this practice is help us to improve all our value chain from a software development perspective. And generally, like the more important value for the customer generally is just to have a running products, stable, reliable into the productions. And then what we want to continue improve our value stream, which is how we can bring it from the code and then bring it into productions. Generally, that's we want to reduce all the wastage for every single step throughout all the whole process. I think this is we always look into that process to how we do the continuous improvement. Then let's move to Agile. Yeah, I think everyone is pretty familiar. We're practicing Scrum and Kanban here in our business unit. I think most of the women team actually practicing Scrum. We are running like a 2-week sprint. So every sprint that's actually is running in 2 weeks. Then we run through all the Scrum ceremony. We do a daily stand up. We do a sprint planning. Then we do a sprint review. I think that's the more exciting part where every developer have chance to demo all the feature into our stakeholders, so that then they get a comment and feedback. Then you can review and adapt along the way. Then to move any improvement into the next sprint as well. Then, of course, we also have the retro. It helps us to improve all the what the area improvement, what you're doing good, what you continue doing it. Yeah, I think that will be also get presented and shared within the teams. And then we have some team, like especially like the SIA and our team practicing Kanban, where we focus on the work in progress work. Because my team is driving a lot of global DevOps initiatives. So other than we present Kanban more towards to support some of the critical issues, and also as well as we also practicing a little bit Scrum to drive our innovation as well. Yeah, as for example, like recently that we drive a lot of initial work, how we can deploy a lot of clusters to help the team to drive a lot of success. Yeah. Let me move on. It's good. Always good to share some of the programming language. I believe a lot of people will ask every time you come to the organization, say, "Oh, what language that we use?" We're quite diverse in Experian. Our generally is a Java house for most of the microservice. Of course, we have JavaScript, Node.js, and TypeScript itself for all the UI component. Then we also have like Python. Like for myself, I also maintain some of the Python script as well. I think this is good for the automations. And some people might surprise, where is Groovy coming from? We managing all our build system generally is via Jenkins. So I think a lot of teams, they contribute to our partner library. So that allowed us to do a lot of automation on the CI/CD part. This is where the Groovy into the pictures. And Golang, yeah. So we have the few Lambda that actually written in Golang. That is some of the preference for the developers. So yes, we enjoy to learning all these kind of different languages. For my friends, I believe they will ask me if Phang Wei is a rush. So some of the overkit in our meetup, they always say, try out something like that. Yeah, in the future, maybe we'll put it in, yeah. All right, the next thing I want to go through is about the tool change. In Experian, look like we're using a lot of, believe me, this is not, this is probably 60% of it. There's still a lot that they haven't managed to put into the slide. So from here, let me just walk you through a little bit. So like I mentioned, our CID server, we are using Jenkins. And we are in the Java house that we I think all our Java projects I think managed either in Maven or Gradle. And our source code actually is stored in the bin bucket. And all the build artifact that we've been generated throughout the build process, it was stored in the JFrog artifactory, either with the jars or the npm, or even the zip file or the executable. And we also our cloud platform generally is running on Kubernetes. We have we're running on EKS and OpenShift as well. And so all the Docker images that we built, we are storing in the Amazon ECR, as well as the OpenShift, some in Artifactory as well. So to ask me why we store so in many different places, generally this is because we are transitioned from one technology to another technology. Yeah. One thing we're excited to share about is the Terraform. Yeah, we are managing all the infrastructures via Terraform. So that allows us to just spin up a new cluster or the environment for a team or for a group. It's very easily. I think it's all just trigger a pipeline, then it will generate the whole thing for them in hours. Yeah, I guess. And then there are some other testing tool that we implement. For example, we have some security scanning that we're using Veracode, and then we have a lot of quality scanning we're using SonarQube. generally that's allow us to have the static scanning for all the code that we build. I think quality and the security is our security first is always our practice as well. So you make sure that all the code that we are building at least be part of static scanning. Then later you will have a different route of security scan along the way. Yep. Cool, great. So I will be very excited if I can have a lot of new tool to be shared. I think the latest one that we have is like the Witch.io. I think this is also fantastic tools, yeah, for us to manage the cloud infrastructures. Yeah. Here I want to walk you through a little bit how we collaborate together as a team. Like I mentioned, we have so many team and so many group and it's scattered around the world, and how we work together as a team. And what we are practicing here is we give every group a dedicated CI/CD cluster for them to develop their stuff, to do all their CI/CD. And then so we embrace the autonomous and the self-sufficient to the team so that they can, any issue with one cluster, they will not kind of impact the other group as well. So they are free to do all their testing, to manage all the cluster as well. And all this cluster, believe me, is we all manage under the Terraform, and like I mentioned, is very easy to bring up a new one. And what is more important is we also need to continuously upgrade and maintain all this environment. So we also have a lot of automation on doing it. We created a lot of auto updates kind of pipelines in our Jenkins. That's always able to push all the new updates into all the cluster that we created for the group to use. Every day we have a set of upgrade, and every weekend we have different set of upgrade as well, so that we need all the different clusters to be consistent and up to date in terms of the feature wise, or also in terms of security patch. So and what is good about it is automated. I think this is the most important one. And we also we also help the team to create a lot of runbook and the knowledge base for them, so that they also learn and then develop and then share all their knowledge via our kind of, I think we are using conference that as our knowledge base system. So that's just like the wiki for Experian. So we put out a lot of runbook and the knowledge base over there that we can share the knowledge, and as well as the standard practice or the runbook for them to maintain the cluster and then do their daily works. Yeah. You can see it's a small black box at the left bottom side. If those who use Slack in dark mode, they understand what is that. So we're using Slack as our important collaboration tools for all the developers, and I think this is really helpful to us throughout our daily works. Every day is like I come into the office, generally other than the emails and my Jira dashboard, I think the next test will definitely be Slack. And then we will look through, we distribute all the, we have a different channels for different purpose. So some clusters were for different purpose that they're managing on their cluster. If they has a certain issue, they post a certain message or the helps to look for a certain details. So whoever that they feel they would like to contribute, they always can contribute to those discussions. And some more, we have a different channel. If you ever have a channel of like the Mac OS tips, so I believe you might heard today all the Apple's new product, Mac Studio probably is already posted there, been discussed, the more powerful kind of Mac machine that we're gonna have. Yeah. So and then the one thing that we practice as well is we call it Swarm channel. So whenever we have some critical issues that might need to involve smart brains from a different team and from a different country or different group, we might able to pull them into the Swarm channels for them to contribute, so that they can solve the problems, then the critical problem in the shorter times whenever possible. So like, for example, I believe in the IT industry, people are busy patching their Log4j. So that is something that we have the channel as well, just to make sure that all the software that actually is Log4j issue free, things like that. Right, on the right that you can see some of the general practice, or like plan, code, build, test, and release. Then we do a deploy and operate monitor. I think those are the standard things that we do CI/CD. So just for each cycle on this or each step in this, we have a different tool chain that I showed earlier. But I will not go into details, but generally those are our general practice here. Okay, let me move on a little bit. I think the more important to allow us to be continuous success is we measure where we are, and by generate a lot of metrics. So without a metrics, you do not know how good you are. You don't know what the area for improve. You might be doing pretty good, but some of the critical area that it can be improved, then it going to make a lot of difference, but you might not be aware. So that's the reason why we try to measure a lot of stuff and generate a lot of metrics. That's help us to continue to improve, and then to reduce all the wastage that we have, and then to zone focus on the most critical area. So like, for example, this is how we categorize, like for the customer success, also how we measure all the defect that's reported by the customer there, how fast we can solve it, and then how we can improve it along the way, like the turnaround time, things like that. Like others example like build and test, actually generate those are our CI, the kind of metrics. So how fast we build stuff and test, and then what are the failure rates for different teams, for different products, that you can see all the metrics there. And the more important is always, like I mentioned, is the security. So we always practice security first in Experian, and we have all the metrics for data for a component that's been scanned and reported with some security flaw, whether it's critical, high, and medium. So we never allow a product to able to ship into the production if we have a critical and high security flaw. That is no to ever. We rather than ship the features, but to fix those stuff first. And last one, we have also product quality. So that we need to make sure that for different products in their development cycle, then how good they are from their defect rates for the certain products and the microservice as well. So like the bug being fixed during a release cycle, or even during on the production cycle. So we categorize with the different kind of metrics that has helped to drive all the teams kind of quality that they're aware. And remember, I mentioned we have a retro sessions in our Scrum's kind of practice. So they will revisit all their measures, and we even have developed some costing metrics as well for the team. So like I mentioned earlier, we have different cluster for the team, so that so the team actually are automated and self-managed on their own kind of platform. So they also very focus on the cost that's they're going to incur. So with a certain metrics and to help them to say, oh, I actually overspent a little bit of limit for this month, so how I can improve it. Is it a certain node port or machine that the team have been used actually is not shutting down? So that is how they detect and monitor and get the alerting and improve it along the way. Last but not least, I want to cover a little bit on the feature delivery as well. So this is generally how we manage to capture the metrics on our for each release. So how fast we do for the delivery, and then what are the issues that we have, and for the each release cycle that we introduce, we have a different release cycle for different product. Some, like I say, we release for all infrastructure improvement actually is every day or weekly, and some products that is actually releasing like the 6 weeks time, some is 3 weeks, some is 2 weeks. It really depends on the target that's set by the different kind of groups that they wanted to achieve this. So we work as a team that we capture all the metrics, we help each other to improve it, and share their practices cross group as well. And then we have all hands kind of to running every month, and we also share a lot of success story from different teams where they can share all their good practices across all the development teams. Yeah. Generally this is our how we're doing. I think I'm good with that. This is just what I want to cover that for today. I think Shanice, I invited Shanice in this session. Actually, I want Shanice is she's an intern that joined us for it's like 1.5 months. So it's always good for her to get the first-hand impression, how she feels, and then to share some experience with us for 1.5 months that she working. She's part of my team generally. So Shanice, you want to unmute your mic? To share some of your thoughts. Probably let me ask something like this. So what is the most excited or the most challenging thing you experienced for the 1.5 months? Yeah.
Most challenging. All right. So before I answer Pang's question, yes. So hello everybody. I'm Shanice, and as Phang has mentioned, I have been an intern here for about 1.5 months with Phang and his team. So I've been working with them for the past 1.5 months, and I would say, I guess the challenging part, as I'm an intern, like fresh grad situation, the most challenging part would be trying to learn all the software. So as Phang has shown, like we have so many different software from like Jenkins to Terraform, and with all the cloud technology. So I had to kind of slowly get used to and build those kind of skills in those software, because in university, in education line, you don't really learn about cloud technology. You don't learn about all these different kinds. You perhaps only learn how to code in Java and Python. So having to learn about all these new software was a big challenge for me.
Good. I hope you enjoy your journey so far. And what are you looking for in the coming few months on your internship?
Just to let everybody here to know that I have been very much enjoying my experience here in Experian. The people are very welcoming, and even everyone is so friendly, and there's always room to grow. Even if you work here for like 1 month or even for 10 years, there's always space for you to grow. So I really enjoy my time here in Experian, and I hope that in the next coming few months during my remainder of this internship, I get to know more about Experian. And currently I'm under the DevOps in Phang's team, so we're doing the development operations side. So I hope to also learn more about other software in Experian and perhaps in the software development. So I just hope to learn more. Yeah.
Good. So thank you very much. I'm seeing some question. I think feel free for you to post the questions into the comments, so that's how I think I try to look through the question that I can answer you. Let me see from the okay. The first one that I can see is do you have any tips and advice on what can I prepare to say on the coding and software test? Also a technical question as part of the Experian interview process. You want to get some tips. I think generally, like I mentioned, it very much depends. You are applying for which position is as a developers. It generally like you see the tools that we use, and then and then say the language that we use. If you look for the team that they mentioned, they need a Java kind of skill. I think this is where you prepare all the Java questions. And I believe our questions is not so tough, but I think it's good for you to go through a lot of Java exercise as well. And the important thing is like, probably I can share some things that we're running or we're doing microservice, we're using Spring Boot. I think those are the good things for you to explore more. Yep. Another questions from Pei-Ling. Yeah, a little bit more about yourself and how you start. Okay, I hope you refer to me. Let me answer first, right? So for me, I think I have 20 years of experience in the industry. I joined Experian like 14 years ago when they started establish the center in Experian. So I can say my career experience actually divided into half. I think the first half is very exciting. It's more on the software development, so that I tend to focus. So I say I want to develop my career inspiration. I want to develop best products that make me feel proud. So I think Experian giving a lot of good chance in this area, especially like you'll be very, very excited when you hear about the line of code, the service that are deployed into the production actually serving 1 million or transaction per day. I think this is a good success. You will feel proud of that. You will feel proud about that. And then the second part of my career that I move a little bit to try about the software engineering process that's for our decision analytics. So what other than the great product, sometimes I feel that I also admire those engineering process that actually can help us to be more efficient in the modern world. Because like 14 years ago, we talked about clouds and say, yeah. So now it's those clouds everywhere, and agile is everywhere. Continuous delivery is everywhere. Everybody talked about that. I think that is the element that's help us to improve not only on the technical. I think a lot of today's, if you want to develop your career and all this, you must be follow the latest trend in the industry. I think the first is you cannot run around with the cloud. Like I said the same thing to the Shanice as well. I would be very surprised if you didn't talk about cloud, you didn't talk about agile, didn't talk about continuous delivery. Oh, that is I think you miss a lot of exciting part in this industry. All right. Yeah, I think that's all for me. Other questions? What is you doing to ensure product quality? Product quality, like I mentioned, we are doing lean process. I think quality is always something that we emphasize throughout our development process. So I think we are very lucky today to become a developers, because you got ton of resources that other than you can Google and Stack Overflow as. I think this is what you can get a lot of solution. And also we have a lot of tool to helping you to make you become a good coder. So you write a certain code that we had a lot of static scanning recommendation for you to follow a bad practice if you're doing things wrong. So a lot of hints of bad practice is helping you to become a very good coder. This is where we embrace in our software development lifecycle and Experian. So we use a lot of tools to help the developers, and then we have a lot of collaboration platform and sharing experience as well towards a whole organization. So this is to help us to bring out the products quality as well. Like I mentioned again, that's we're practicing security first. That's why we have a lot of security scanning tools that to help us to even discover what we call it a left shift. We always want to discover issues earlier than possible at the early of the development process, instead of like throw in the production, because it's going to be very costly for us to investigate and then to tackle the problem and then to deploy it. So that is it become a lot more costly. So a lot of time that we try to be less shift. I mean, we discuss a lot of stuff during our CI process as early as possible. That's help the team to have more time to improve their code qualities. I hope we answered questions. Any other questions from the floor? Let me check the time. I think, yes, I think we're about 30 minutes. So if no question, or probably Shanice, you want to answer more about the question, see how you wanted to develop your career further?
Yeah, I think I'll just briefly answer Pei Ling's question. So thank you, Pei Ling, for the question as well. So how I started here in Experian is just I had to apply for an internship for my degree. So a friend of mine is actually working here in Experian, and he highly recommended the company because of the environment and the people and the work. So I was like, you know what, why not? So I applied, and I'm very lucky and to manage to get in and to work with Phang and the team. Yeah.
Good. I think we're about the time. So thank you, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this session. Feel free to reach out to us. So if you want to know more about that. Yeah, hope to see you in the next similar kind of event in Meetup, in local Meetup or anything. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.